is here. And there you see the back where the sisters live. That's our house on the left. That's the dormitory for the vocational girls. And then their dining room and sewing room. And a house in the back of that for some of the volunteers. There was also the bakery. And that's the sister's house, a two-story house which the brothers built years ago. Now, because we needed teachers for our school of nursing, and our local women at that time were not educated, were not trained, did not have their nurses training enough to be able to teach new students, I got volunteers from different organizations in New Zealand and in England and in America. And here one of the volunteers joined the women from the village for the graduation ceremony dance. This was the graduation of the nurses, and Angela joined them. She went down and practiced with the women in the village that she could dance for her students on their graduation day. Angela was from Ireland. We had several from Ireland. They come for 3 years and give their time to help these people, help the girls become good nurses. And they were great because, you know, I had been there many years, so I was stale, but they come fresh from school, fresh from experience, and give their all for 3 years to help these girls. They've had all that new experience. This is the leader of the dance. There the women are putting what they call kabang, which is a powder made from reef stone, which they chew when they chew betel nut. They use the kabang with it. And putting that on the dancers is like saying you're doing a great job, or thank you, or I'm proud of you, or whatever. It's just a compliment. Yeah, this was just one of many dances that took place on graduation day. And that's in front of the maternity ward there. And this is Pessoa. There you see Sister Euphemia. She'll turn around in a bit to show her face. Sister's from Germany, a great woman for teaching the young girls. And the boys had a vocational school, and the girls were part of it. That's Brother Dan, who took care of the boys. Sister Euphemia taught the girls many things like cooking, baking, sewing. And they just had moved out of Lemacauda and moved to a place called Pessoa, where they would have more space and would be able to have animals. That's Sue there, Susan Bree from New Zealand. That's Angelica from Germany, all volunteers coming for 3 years with different organizations. That's the brothers' house. They're on the hill where they lived until they got better facilities built. This is how you climb a coconut tree. He has a piece of rope, or maybe only a bush material, vine or something, between his feet to give him a grip. And there he got to the top, and he's showing off today. Today was a celebration in caving. I would imagine he's probably about 12 or so. And coming down, and turning around and coming down backwards, while everybody standing around is holding their breath, praying that nothing happens to him. This was a major feature of the event. And there I took the girls to town one day in our truck. We took a truckload. We could probably carry about 20. You only see a few here. And unfortunately, we had a flat tire along the way, and I forgot to check to make sure the spare tire was in. So we had to find a truck to take the message down to Lemacauda, and then they came with a spare tire and changed the tire. This is our gymnastic boys. You can see how the film is moldy. It's been sitting in the tropics probably about 40 years, and then either in the tropics or in Ohio without air conditioning. So young girls doing a dance. The teachers taught them. The teachers are there with the guitars. And some of the younger ones have percussion instruments, the children, to add to the music, or even a kundu. The boys are dancing. And there we would get drums every once in a while from America, and when the things came in drums, it was usually from the priests, the brothers in Illinois. Usually when the sisters sent things, they packed them in crates, the men that worked those crates. There they're sending medicine. The pieces of material will either be used to make pants, trousers for the babies. That's Brother Mike Gershie, who would have probably helped at one time to pack these drums. And a Sister Margaret and Sister Gertrude. The material will be used for bandages and for clothing. That's Margaret in the middle and Gertrude on the left there. All saying thank you to the people in America who thought of us and sent things on. This is the village of along the way, in the back of the island, Zuan or Saleh, and the people are coming because I arrived to weigh the children, and Sister come along to inspect the schools along the. Sister's a teacher, and she was responsible for the 8 schools on the 3 islands. There are sisters saying hello. And the men are sitting around waiting for us to either finish and get back on the boat, or maybe we were waiting for the people together. There's a man either making a mat. They wove the coconut leaves and made mats so they could sit on or put food on to keep it off the ground. Yeah, they're talking with him. Maybe he's explaining what he's doing. A couple of the young boys from the village. And their houses. Like I said before, they don't really live in the house. They sleep in the houses. But during the day, there you can see that house is pretty high. That's our boat. And you can see again the mildew on the film that Eric worked so hard to make the pictures come out in spite of it all. There again, the Robert is anchored. This is one place that had like a bay where the boat could come in pretty close to shore, and then we would use the dinghy or the small boat to come ashore. They're sharing their water with me. It's bamboo. You cut the bamboo between the rings, and one serves as the top, and then they use a leaf to close the top. Trying to get the baby this must have been my early days there, because I soon learned that you can't use that type of scale. And so we got someone to stand on a foot scale and hold the children while we weighed them, then we subtracted their weight. Here we have choir competition. Once a year the various schools we tried to do it every year, that the different schools on the mainland would come in and have a choir competition. And after a few years, maybe we would have the schools also from the islands. 3 schools from the islands to come in. And then the winners would go to a neighboring island, which is about 6 hours away, Tonga Island, and would compete with the students there. And then Father would make a date to take the winning school to Kavieng. which is 5 hours from here by boat and then 6 hours up the road. There they're playing with the bladder of the pig. That's their football. They're butchering. This is a festival, so they're killing many pigs. There you see they're singeing the hair. In America, we scalded the pigs and scraped the hair off. There they burn the hair. They're smothering the pig to kill it. And then they will open the neck to get the blood out and mix with a special type of leaf and bake it in the stones for a delicacy. And of course, many of the pigs and the meat is prepared the night before and is put in the hot stones, wrapped in banana leaves and put in the hot stones overnight. And covered with bags and stuff to keep the heat in. Leaves, covered with leaves and bags, and if they have a bit of tarp, they would use that nowadays. Here's again one of the masked dances. That's the food being distributed. They'll pass that out to the different villages. It was 4th of July that we went to that village, Lazo or Latau. There's Tommy. He was one of... Sometimes when I would go around to the villages, we'd see a child that was malnourished. And this little one's mother died when he was... Maybe died in childbirth, but he was just a few months old when I went there. And I brought the mother in, and she could not handle the bottled milk. She was a granny, actually it was a grandmother. His mother had died. So she came one day and she said, "Sister, I'm going to go home, and when he's old enough, you bring him back to me." That's Sister Gertrude giving the kids a treat. Here, Father Vavro and Father Free are taking a calf down to the boat, and then we brought it over to New Ireland to Father Tom Keller, who wanted to raise a cow for butchering. He's originally from around the Napoleon area in Ohio. Great excitement for the children. He's lining them up that we can get some photos. They don't know what a movie camera is, but they're following directions and waving. Here we're back in Lee here, and Sister's bringing coffee up for a coffee break. A couple of our boys having a good time. Sister Gertrude again going for something. Sister Rita, Sister Fidelia with the youngsters. We had a couple turkeys. The priest from the seminary sent us 2 little turkeys, and they both turned out to be female. These are sisters from Rome. That's a head leader in Rome, our general, superior, and she came for a visit. They come about maybe every 3 to 6 years. Those are the children at the hospital. The one with the shirt and trousers on was the one that lived with us for a few months till he got his health back. And that's Akom, one of the boarding students who was climbing up to the roof to get the ball that had been thrown up and landed on the roof. There we're coming back from Rabaul, from the Matanai, not Rabaul, from the mainland. We've been over for a festival, had gone to cave-in with a group of students, and now we're heading home. That's the Matanai that we're leaving. That's the rhythm band where I made the uniforms. Sister Fidelia probably helped me. And we were singing for the occasion. Here it looks like it was First Communion. Again, you see the mildew on the film. There is after Father Joe Gleixner with the children after First Communion. Some of the teachers who prepared them for all this. This would be several schools come together, maybe 2 or 3. And of course we have to sing for the occasion. We have to celebrate. The teachers teach them these dances. The boys are dancing their traditional dances. Then Father throws the candy and there's a big rush to find a piece. Usually he has enough that everybody gets something. There's Father's truck. We had 2 Land Rovers to use for going to the villages. And one of the men from the parish at home where my parents go gave Dad money to send to me that I could get a motorbike, that I wouldn't have to walk so much. And I could go one way about 5 miles and the other way about 6 miles. Their father and one of the teachers, Helen, are painting an emblem on the church. And this was Independence Day. We gathered at the village called Lundalavit. That's where the government station was, right near there. Port Canut was the name of the government station. So we gathered at Lundalavit village and walked up to the government station. And there, the older children, probably the school anchor, are doing their singing. You saw the girls that had that like crisscross across their breasts. The grass is called siasi. The parents will start putting that on them when they're very small, and they wear that until they're married and have the first child, and then they're considered women. This is the march by for the independence celebration. The different schools are marching by. There you see the siasi on the girls and the students, and they're carrying the new flag, the Papua New Guinea flag, with the bird of paradise on the red. The red, the yellow, and the black are the colors because those are natural elements that they could make color from. They don't have paints easily accessible. The girls in the grass skirts, which are custom, tradition, I should say. They don't really wear them much anymore because they can buy material now to make what they call the lap, which is 2 yards long and then wrapped around the waist and tucked in. The men, too, in somewhat traditional garb. Those are teachers, and we had 3 aid posts on the islands. There was 1 aid post orderly. Men who have some training, some medical training, where they can treat emergency situations like diarrhea and pneumonia. They're trained to give injections and to give malaria medicine and just certain medicines where they can treat emergencies.